order to answer the question, why are we here? And what is the purpose of our lives? We have to go back in time to where there was God and nothing else. Then God created the angels to perform functions where the existence of God is not necessary or simply devastating, as we will learn later on. The angels had to possess immense powers. And just to give you an idea, today the angels have to travel billions of light years in only a few of our hours. They have to possess immense powers, and God gave the angels immense powers. We have heard in the last few years about questions like how many angels can dance on the tip of a pin. This kind of silly question. But the exact opposite is true. Just to give you an idea, one angel can hold the planet Earth in one hand. We know these things now after the discovery of the mathematical code and the mathematically proven statements in the scriptures. One of the angels became infatuated with his God-given powers. He had so much power that he thought he can be a god in his own right. That angel's name was Lucifer, or Satan, or the devil, or El Diablo. He has many names. Let us call him Satan for the purposes of this program. Satan, you can imagine Satan flying in the universe and saying to himself, I can be a god in my own right. I can rule part of this universe by myself. That was all in his head. And of course his fellow angels had no idea what Satan was thinking. But God knew about Satan's supercilious thoughts deep in his head. God knew those thoughts. And there were two alternatives. Either God can simply wipe out Satan, and in this case the angels will wonder, they will be perplexed. Why did God do this to Satan? Satan didn't do anything wrong. The other alternative was to expose Satan first. And to do this, God decided to create a tiny, a minute creature from a lowly material, mud. You can imagine the size of the human being compared to the size of an angel who can hold the planet Earth in his hand. So God created a tiny creature from a lowly material, mud. Then God ordered the angels to bow down before Adam, this tiny creature. They all did, except you know who, Satan. And thus Satan was exposed as a rebel. Now the angels see for themselves that Satan is a rebel who deserves to be banished from God's kingdom. That was the first reason for creating the human race. It was mercy from God that he decided to expose Satan first by creating the tiny creature from mud, then ordering the angels to fall prostrate, bow down before Adam. The other reason for creating the human race is a bit more complicated. To understand this second reason, we have to go back to the time when Satan was infatuated with his power and saying, I can rule part of this universe by myself. I can be a God in my own right. God said to himself when he knew about Satan's supercilious thoughts, all right, you want to be a God? I will make you a God and see how good you are. There is much more to godhood than you think. This is what God thought to himself, and this is where the second reason for creating us comes. In order to make Satan a God temporarily, God decided to give Satan a dominion and constituents. In order to be a God or a king, you have to have a dominion and constituents. To give Satan a dominion, God went out of his way to show Satan that the dominion God is giving to Satan is really tiny, minute. God created this vast universe, the 7 universes that I described to you, and in this vast universe, God told Satan, I'm giving you this tiny, tiny planet Earth. This is your dominion. Okay, so now that Satan has his dominion, where will he get his constituents? That's right, the human race. God created the human beings and gave them the freedom of choice. God told us, you and me and every one of us, that if we choose Satan's kingdom, we belong in Satan's kingdom. And if we choose God's kingdom, then we belong in God's kingdom. Now this choice depends on siding with Satan's point of view or God's point of view. God's point of view is that God alone is Lord of the universes. He has no partners, no other gods besides him. This is God's point of view. And when you agree with this point of view, you belong in God's kingdom. Satan's point of view, on the other hand, is that God alone is not enough. There can be, or there must be, another God or gods besides him. And Satan wanted to be that other God. So the human beings have the freedom of choice, and those among them who side with Satan's point of view become Satan's constituents. So now Satan has his dominion, the planet Earth, and his constituents, the human beings who side with his point of view. And Satan is being tested as a God. And the results are all around.